Good evening and welcome everybody to Trainer HQ's online presentation. And not only is it an online presentation, but it's the presentation where we do discuss the online element of training and how you can effectively take your business online. So first and foremost, my observation is that we've been through a crazy time. No matter where we go, in what part of our world or society, I think we can all agree that it has been one of the craziest times for all of us. And for many people in the fitness industry, a reasonably daunting and a reasonably, scary time as well for many people. And what happened, abruptly was, gyms, facilities, studios shut, all without word of, I guess there was a build up to it, but it all kind of happened pretty quickly and hit a lot of people very suddenly. Now, the beauty is, and my observation is that there is now light at the end of the tunnel. So the good news is that we do know that, gyms are reopening. We're heading back to what is going to be defined as some sort of new normal. And it'd been my opinion all along through this that I believe that we're going to come through this very safely, and I believe that we're going to do it very well, which is what all the evidence is stacked up against. I also believe that there's a huge opportunity that exists right now for each and every one of you who are in the fitness industry, who are delivering your service and who are changing the lives of others. So what I'm going to be talking about tonight, I want to talk about the concept of why I've seen many PTs have moved into the idea of maybe not going back to the gym, saying, well, I've done my time, I'm not really sure if I do need to go back to the gym. Number two, I want to talk about the idea of having the blend of both a face-to-face model and an online model. And also I want to explore a little bit about the purpose behind doing it and some of the strategic plan of what might be required for you doing it. And more importantly, making sure that you are doing it for the right reasons, making sure you're doing it because, not just doing it because you think you should do it, or potentially there's the massive FOMO happening where it's the fear of missing out, thinking I need to do this. And so my goal for tonight on this presentation is to try and give you a bit of insight as to what I know that's happening in the trenches and from our years of experience and how we're helping others on our business accelerator coaching programs to do that. So let's have a look at the online PT model, because that's what tonight's all about. It's about taking your PT and taking your fitness service offering online. And let's have a look at that definition and have a look at a few different models on how you might be able to deliver that type of service. So the online trainer model can provide many different levels of service. So let's just talk through some of these and we'll start to define them and maybe just give them some approximate amounts. And please, this is where I'd encourage any of you to give me some interaction in the chat box here and just let me know if you are utilizing any of these already, if you've made a start on it. But, one of the more popular and more common ones is, the low cost, and that might be a pre-written or a templated style program. And the idea behind it is that really we refer to it as the came-up model. So it's the ability for us to be able to have a lower cost product that requires either less time, less energy, less effort, and that enables us to reduce that fee down for people, which makes it accessible to more people. And consequently, the theory there is we can have more people do a program like that. So that's one of the more common ones that we do see out there. And one of the ones where, I guess, historically, going back a number of years ago, many people who are moving into the online space were kind of venturing down that path. Hey, let me write you the program. I deliver it to you. You do the program from there. Next thing would be having the pre-written program, which then combines with some type of training. Okay, and I've put here an example of group sessions, and the beauty of this is that we've seen for many people that we've been working with over the last couple of months have very quickly made a shift because they were forced to and they did have to start running Zoom-based training sessions, Zoom-based coaching sessions. And it was fascinating to me because I had the conversation with many people, and some of those people on our program who were well-versed in personal training and well-versed in what they did. However, when it came to the Zoom-style session, they were at a bit of a standstill and going, well, hold on, how does this whole Zoom thing run? How do I actually conduct a physical session using a platform like Zoom? And so very quickly, many of these people had to learn that, well, it's really in many ways no different to how you would otherwise conduct some form of instruction. And so consequently, like I said, the learning curve was very steep for many of these people. And what it meant for them is they had to adapt and overcome very quickly. Next thing that we can start adding to it are things like some type of periodical type check-ins, and there might be some sort of format that you might use, like say, for example, if we check in once a month. So, and these could all be stacked on top of one another. So we might commence with a low entry cost, pre-written templated style program, which then might add to it the ability for these people to turn up to, 1, 2, 3, 5 group sessions per week, or semi-private style sessions, in whichever way you might want to structure that. And then from there, you may add to that moving into a bit of a higher level of personal service, which has some sort of periodical check-in where there might be some sort of coaching session that you actually guide that person through and get a bit of feedback from them on how they've been going through the program, how they've been filling out the necessary information and so forth. And once again, these would all be appropriately priced in some type of what we'd refer to as a value ladder. So at the low cost stuff, that could be anywhere from, we see it occur sort of around that $10 to maybe $20 mark. By the time we add in some group sessions, I think we move into the mid-20s to 30s and so forth. By the time we add in the periodical check-ins on a monthly basis, then we might be up to, $35, $40, maybe $50 per week. And the system keeps rolling out a little bit like that. Next thing, of course, is, we can go above and beyond doing a group session. We can go above and beyond doing a Zoom-based coaching session, and we can move into doing physical one-on-one sessions. And once again, I refer back to the current time for many of the people on our program who have really had to make this a necessity for them, whereas they had spent their career as a trainer, training people one-on-one in that sort of format in a gym or in a studio, and they very quickly had to learn how to do that over a Zoom-based format or similar. Now, the beauty of doing this and the beauty of this time is that this is widely accepted. If you want to go and check out the amount of people that have subscribed to Zoom over the last couple of months, I think you'll find it's quite fascinating. And what I mean, what I'm referring to here is it's become well understood, it's become well appreciated, and it's become well accepted. And those of you who want to integrate this as part of your methodology moving forward, then you do have a great opportunity to be able to put this stuff in there. It also opens you up to the idea that people don't have to have missed sessions, traveling, all that sort of stuff. So someone's knowing they're going to be held back at work. Well, no dramas, mate. Remember that Zoom thing we did 3 months ago? Well, put it on in the office and we'll do the workout right here, right now. Happy days. And that's how it can play out. Next thing is we move into, I guess, what I would refer to as the higher level stuff and, the higher ticket stuff. And really it's where we start to combine all these different types of training where you become the coach, you become the PT, you become the advisor, all these different levels. And what it does, it's a blend, or it's a combination where you can then, really decide, well, how much do I want to charge and how do I want to turn this business into something successful? Because, the conversation, once again, that we had with many people, and there was many questions asked to us as a business going, well, hold on, if I'm charging $80 for a face-to-face PT session in the gym, once I transfer that over to my new sort of online version, what should I charge? Should I reduce the rate and all that sort of stuff? And our response was no. In my opinion, that the price, the value is determined by the service that you deliver, and whether I do that in the gym, I turn up and see you, whether I'm doing it outdoors in a park, whether I'm doing that in a studio or whatever, quite simply, the price is the price. And so what we need to do, and for any of you who are piecing together your value proposition around this, you do need to make sure that you are very clear on what it is that you're delivering, instead of feeling like, oh, this is not as good because of X, Y, and Z reasons. And I'm sure that anyone who has considered anything or piecing together anything of worth may have gone through their own personal development struggles where they said, well, if I'm delivering this service online and I'm writing programs and I'm coaching and I'm mentoring people, is that valued as much as me turning up and seeing them face to face? And the short story, in my opinion, is yes. So the other part to it is it can be potentially challenging with so many options. And so once again, my advice, if I put on my coach's hat, is to say to each and every one of you to not get too bamboozled or allow all these options and all this opportunity to, to be able to get you confused, because what will happen, there's three decisions we can make. We can make the right decision, we can make the wrong decision, and then of course we can make no decision at all. And so when you do have many options, a confused mind is always going to find it a little bit challenging to be able to do exactly what it needs to do. And so what we say to you is what we need to do is we need to go back to the roots. So before we venture online, before you decide what type of business you would like to build in doing this, we need to start and we need to go on the exploration process. And right now is that perfect opportunity. It's the perfect time to figure out exactly what it is and what that you would like, and what do you want for the future. Because that's where it's got to start. With any business model, with any business plan, you need to start considering and start thinking about the end. What does the end look like, and what do you want for your future, and how's that going to be presented for you? Now, I know for a fact there's many people who have also had the discussion with me around the fact that, hey, I've been in this new situation of recent times where I've actually had a little bit more time. I've actually been at home in the mornings. I've been at home at the night time, which is times when I wouldn't have otherwise been there. So consequently, it enables you to start figuring out, well, what do I need to do? How do I need to engineer this? And when I think about myself, I've only got to look at that screen and go, why am I building this business? Why am I investing the time and the energy to get better in these areas of marketing, in these areas of lead generation, in planning and so forth? Well, it's to be able to engineer the lifestyle that I really love and enjoy. So it's spending time with my family. It's hanging out with my kids. I have the privilege of being able to, do homework with them, help them with their homeschooling, be here for them, be that supportive role model for them. And so that's my bit now. But for everybody, your own thing, it's your decision. Okay, so you got to figure out what it is that you want. So once we get that part sorted, it's going to really give you some assistance. And then the next part is figuring out the monetary side of it, because the two are going to be lined up. Okay, so quite simply, the lifestyle that you want to lead in many ways is going to be determined by the revenue that you are going to generate into your business. And it's as simple as that. So business is, in my opinion, one of the best investments you can get yourself involved in when you have a look at the returns that you can get from a successful business. So quite simply, if it boils down to the fact that you've got to figure out, well, what am I looking to achieve in terms of a lifestyle, and therefore what do I need to engineer and what do I need to bring in terms of revenue to be able to produce that? And the next part is do you want to move above and beyond just yourself? Now, I refer to it as, solo independent personal trainer, and you get a picture of a PT on a gym floor, but really you could become a solo independent online personal trainer. And the question is that what you want? Does that juice you? Do you enjoy sitting behind the computer? Do you enjoy the program writing element? Do you enjoy having face-to-face consults? Or are you that person that likes to blend of both? And once again, there's no right or wrong answers in this, but we're here to go on the exploration process. When I talk about building a team, however, the beauty of this is that you can go beyond just yourself. You can go beyond just a solo online coach. And I don't say just lightly, and that is a great thing, a great achievement to have. But if you want more, if you know that you're destined for more, then there's the opportunity for you to do that. So once again, when I look at that screen, and when we had a great team of personal trainers, 13 personal trainers, conducting over 200 hours worth of 45-minute sessions, it's well over 250 odd sessions per week of physical face-to-face sessions. That model, and we have plenty of now trainers at Trainer HQ who are starting to replicate that model, where they go, well, instead of me employing a trainer in the gym, what I can now do is I can start to build a team of trainers in my online business, my online coaching model. And there's a whole strategy and a whole system behind that. But once again, this is going to come back to what is it that you really want? And more importantly, centered around what does the perfect day look like for you? So, you need to start engineering that and figuring out, well, is it about contact hours, or is there a blended version? Maybe I've figured out that for me, I'm great with 10 to 15 contact hours on the gym floor. I know I can give 110%, and I know that for 4 days a week, I can go in there and I can train the clients that I want to train. I can get them great results. But I also know that I do enjoy being able to be at home in the office or in whatever environment that might be. And I get to do my coaching and my preparation and all that component of it, which is also an income generating element as well. So there might be that blended version. So let's discuss it. But the biggest trap that I see people falling into when it is time to start engineering and start designing some type of online training business is this concept that it needs to be somewhat, magically different to a face-to-face business in terms of the development, in terms of the structure, in terms of the strategic plan and so forth. So I am here to tell you that the beauty of doing this is that the business skills and the principles that you learn in becoming better in business and building a physical or a face-to-face business are completely and totally transferable to the success of an online platform as well and an online business. So don't for a minute think that you can't do it or you don't possess the skills. And number two, don't for a minute think that there is some type of magic pill, magic cure, magic something that's going to suddenly just drop all these online clients from the sky. So from that perspective, I really can't overemphasize that point and tell you the importance of it, and for you to really keep an open mind as we go through the strategic plan. So what we refer to as our 6-step plan for success. And I know that we've got Mr. Paul Condren, who's head of business growth, here live on the webinar as well tonight, and Paulie and many of you who are joining us live might have had a chat with Paul. But we discussed this about what's our plan, what's our strategic plan, and this is when he's speaking to people, when he's discussing the growth of their business, the growth of your fitness business, it's all about, all right, let's discuss the plan. And that's points number one and points number two. It's all about having a plan and making sure we do put the right systems into place. And what does that mean for us? Well, we have the ability to then, attract more people into the business, which means that we can convert those people into more ongoing clients, which means, higher level, better quality, better paying clients, and ultimately it gives us the flexibility to then decide what does the business look like. So let's break it down. Let's have a look at steps 1 and 2, because it is just a highly critical part about this strategic plan and putting it together. And really, you do need to have a clear plan for anything that you do. So what you do need to be very clear on, first and foremost, before we go and do this, you need to be very clear on what type of niches are you going to target. Now, I say niches there because, you don't have to be locked into just attracting or trying to market yourself to one niche alone. However, the beauty of identifying a niche means that you know exactly where those people are going to be hanging out. How am I going to find those people? How am I going to, how does the conversation need to happen? What type of messaging do I need to have? How do I need to structure the wording? Because once we figure that part out, then it's going to make your process, it's going to make the journey that you follow incredibly more streamlined for you, and it's going to make that work to your advantage. And you really do need to know exactly what your ideal client, what do they look like, and when I say look like, what are their fears, what are their concerns, what are their feelings, what is it that they need to be able to get what they want in terms of providing their level of satisfaction. Now, we do have a sheet that is a template that it's called our ideal client worksheet. And if any of you do want that ideal client worksheet, I'd love to share it with you. And all you need to do is just put in ideal client, just write the word ideal client in the chat box, and I'll make sure that we'll get that sent across to you. And it's a worksheet which actually really helps you identify and starts to tap into, what is it that's going on for the ideal client. So yeah, any of you that want that, just please type it straight in and say ideal client, and I'll make sure I get that across to you. All right, but unfortunately, too many fitness professionals and online coaches are just simply hoping for the best. And so the hope plan is not a good plan. It's not a good strategy. it's fingers crossed, and we're sitting there, we're just literally hoping for the best. And unfortunately, too many trainers are simply, hoping that if I jump on Facebook and run a session or demonstrate some exercises or do whatever I might do, then that might just magically sort of entice these people to want to sign up to the program that I'm going to create. Well, don't for a minute think that I'm not suggesting you shouldn't produce good quality content, and any marketer or anyone in business really needs to make sure that you do produce good quality content and that you do make it available to your target market. Make sure that you effectively put yourself in the best position to win. But unfortunately, the Hope Plan says that we don't really have a plan by it, and I'm not really sure of the strategy. Instead, what I'll do is I'll just jump on Facebook and throw a few workouts in there. They have no lead generation methods, and so once again, it's going to be challenging if we don't have some type of structured lead generation method. And therefore, if I haven't taken the step to develop a database and start to store those people's details in some type of formal program, names, emails, phone numbers, and have some sort of structured follow-up where I can create what we refer to as a nurture funnel. And a nurture funnel may involve a series of structured emails, it may involve phone calls, it may involve SMSs, Messenger, it may involve a whole range of different things where you are, as the word implies, nurturing that person to understand a bit more about what it is that you do and how you can make an impact in their business. And unfortunately for many trainers, they're just really unclear about the style of service offering that they actually have and who they can impact. And so consequently, if we're a bit unsure about that, if you're not clear, then it's definitely going to come across as not that clear for your target market. So you want to get very clear on what your service, what your offering is, what your pricing is, and more importantly, how it is that you can help these people who are sitting in your demographic, who are sitting in your niche and your target market. Next part is all about in putting the right systems into place, and this part once again is highly critical. And points 1 and 2, I can guarantee you, I get to see plenty of people who are promoting, hey, become an online PT, 50 leads a week, 50 leads a day, 50 leads an hour, whatever it might be. A lot of noise, a lot of stuff out there, but really what you're looking for whenever you want to get some help or some assistance from somebody is proven business systems. You want to look for people that have implemented the right strategic plan. So first of all, the thing I'll tell you in moving online is don't get blocked on which platform or which type of software to use. It's one of the biggest traps to fall into, again, is thinking that the power lies in this online app or this online platform or whatever that might be. Okay, trust me, the power is not in that. And it does, of course, make your stuff look presentable and comes across great. But I'll tell you for a fact, we've got people who are running successful online PT models, online training models, online coaching models, who are using things that are literally free, like Google Sheets, like PDFs and things like that. So don't for a minute think that you cannot do that or you cannot use any of those. This presentation I run for you tonight, I run it on Google Slides. Google Slides is free. Zoom costs us about $20 or $30 a month. It's, there's resources at your fingertips that, are literally low cost. And so what it means for you is you can run a successful business. Then you may progress into some type of, training apps. And once again, the biggest thing I'd say to you is don't get bogged down in trying to overcomplicate the process of figuring out which one's the best. Of course, you do some due diligence and figuring out which one might suit your needs. But at that point in time, we just need to pull the trigger. We need to take action on it. And then ultimately at the higher level, and once you start to hit some targets and once you start to, achieve some goals and get some people through the door, well, then you might consider going to some sort of customizable platform or some sort of way that we could, turn the screws up on this thing and really personalize it. I was chatting to somebody recently, and their big thing to me was that they'd had a look at some of the, what you might call, bigger players who are running, online type models, your Michelle Bridges and your 28 Sams and all the rest of it. And their first response is, well, look, if I'm going to compete against something like that, I need something that just looks schmick. I need something that looks super polished, and let me tell you for a fact, because you know we've been down this path of exploring what it takes to develop digital platforms. That stuff is not cheap. Okay, that stuff is not cheap. So once again, you got to make it as easy as possible for your business. And I'm going to guarantee you that, and try to overanalyze this stuff, it's absolutely going to do your head in, and that is 100%. So what you do is, our recommendation to our clients is start small, set your goals so that you can build to that next level. And my advice for anybody is making sure that this is sort of backed up with things like some, you know, financial milestones, or maybe it's a certain number of clients. So it's like, all right, well, up until I get my first 20 paying clients on this particular platform or program, well, I'm going to stick with the Google Sheets or whatever it might be. And then once I hit that target, once I'm very confident that I've got these people in and I've got more coming through the door, well, from there, I can then take it up to the next level. And it becomes as simple as that. All right, let's talk about I guess what we might say, the meat and potatoes on, you know, engineering a great business, and specifically a great online offering. And it's all about getting more leads. So, an effective marketing strategy, it's not just about acquiring more leads. And so this is the part that we do need to understand. Now, for many people, you know, if I was to say to you, and if I was to dump 100 leads in your lap today, many people wouldn't know what the hell to do with them, number one. But more importantly, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a process which attracts your ideal client, who is highly qualified and knows exactly what problems it is that you solve. And once again, this comes back to your messaging. This comes back to the way that you've targeted the right clients, because when your messaging is on point, when you have been able to put yourself in the very best position in front of your prospect's mind, then you are moving into that territory of becoming what we refer to as highly qualified. And when they sign in for something that you might offer, when they do something, when they take an action with you, they will know via the fact that you've been using some pretty strong and pretty powerful messaging and delivering great content. They'll know exactly what it is that you do. And so the perfect time to act is right now. What do I mean by that? Well, I refer to this current time, right? We're coming out the back of COVID-19. You know, it's still a bit shaky out there. Gyms are starting to open slowly and all the rest of it, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. It is positive. And I liken this time to a bit like a Christmas period, where you've had clients who have, you know, historically gone away. They've had the Christmas time. They've had that little break which is equates to their ISO break, working from home, doing all that sort of stuff, eating a bit more than what they would have otherwise done, maybe exercising a bit less, that whole blend which people usually have at Christmas. They get back after that, and what do they want to do? Well, they want to get their ass back in shape, and you're the people that can help them. And so that time is right now. And I think the beauty of that, and how you can really use this to your advantage, is that historically, and I'm generalizing here when I say that, you know, for some people, winter can be a challenging time. Now, I know those of us that love our exercise, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is, dark, cold, raining, whatever, we do it, right? But for many people, they sort of equate exercise to a beautiful day. Let's go for a walk, let's do something. Whereas here's your opportunity to really capitalize on this whole winter cold thing, and really kick people out of this hibernation sort of thing that they've been living in at the moment. And it's your chance to do it. When it comes time to discussing sales, well, this is an important part of it as well. And so what we need to know is, when you're running an online business, is that an online inquiry does not necessarily equate to having no personal contact. What do I mean by that? Well, once again, what I have witnessed, what I have seen, is that for some people, they've used I guess in some ways, the online platform as living in hope that what I can do is I can just sit there, instead of me having to try and call somebody on the phone or speak to them or have a consultation with them or do something of some description. Well, what I just do is just get them to magically, you know, sign into this program. Now, don't think for a minute I'm suggesting that that isn't a great strategy if you can get people to sign online. However, what I'm suggesting to you is that there will be a number of people that will be attracted to the idea that they can speak to a real person, they can connect with a real life person. So please make sure that you want to have a well-structured and well-thought-out consultation process. Now, if you're operating in a gym, that part's highly critical. And it's something that we teach and encourage. However, when you're running your online business, you need to make sure that you've got that set up correctly as well. And you need to make sure that as a new lead rolls through or enters your inbox or enters your messenger chat box or wherever that might enter, that there might be some sort of introductory call, some sort of introductory chat, some type of introductory voice messaging, some way that you and the person who's made the initial, taken the first step to be part of your company can discuss what it is. And then from there, we may have some sort of consultation. And again, what I just referred to is what I speak about is best practice. And what I mean by best practice, well, it's about how do we take what you're doing and take it to the highest level of standard. How do we take it to the highest level of professionalism, which means that if you're charging a reasonable fee for people to do your online program, then you want to make sure that you have a pretty polished process around it, because that is the way that you are going to invite new people into your business on a regular basis. So how would that play out? Well, once we have that intro call, at that point in time, you can then decide, where do I want to take this person? What pathway do I want to take them down? Do I want to introduce them into a consultation, which might be done over the phone or over a screen sharing service like Zoom? Do I want to invite them into some sort of free trial that I might be offering for the service that I have? Is there some sort of assessment I might get these people to take to get them more indoctrinated? Or have I got some sort of blended version of all the above? And once again, keep in mind that these consults that I speak of, they can be done face-to-face, they can be done online. There's many different ways that this can occur, and really, you've got to figure out the best strategy to suit the nature of your business. But the biggest trap to fall into is not knowing this, is not having the system, not having the strategy and the process. So you then need to make sure that you construct a very polished online presentation that clearly offers exactly what it is that your prospective target market is looking for. And once again, it can be as simple as you setting this up inside Google Slides so that you can talk somebody through it. And the beauty, again, of this time that we've been through is that it's just presented us with a massive opportunity to become great at this stuff and for it to be widely accepted and widely acknowledged. Let me give you an analogy, right? When I first kicked off as a personal trainer, well, 20 plus years ago now, so I'm talking close to 25 years ago. Back then, well, initially I really had no clue about training, about business, any of that sort of stuff. I just knew that I wanted to train people, and I was getting good at it. And so when I said I had no clue about training, I had, I didn't have much experience, but I knew that I was really good at training myself, and I knew that I would be, good, put me in front of people, and I'd give it a good crack. First few years, but I really had no clue about business. Now, back then, the other thing that I would think about is that when I look back on it, personal training 25 years ago was kind of this kind of elitist type thing. It was kind of a bit like, well, only back then, movie stars and celebrities and all the rest of it would have a personal trainer, and it was in many circles a bit of a thing, and for someone to have personal training, and therefore there was kind of less of it happening, right? So what I noticed over my journey in personal training was that the amount of personal training increased. I noticed the amount of personal trainers increased. I noticed there be more competition. But the beauty of that, what I discovered was that personal training itself became widely accepted. It became part of people's life. It became part of their routine. So it moved from the early days of, the rock star, the rich person, the businessman, whatever it might be, into something that everybody does on some level, and the beauty of that. So once again, when I come back to this time that we are in right now, it's become widely accepted that people would connect over Zoom, they would connect over some sort of online platform, they would find a way to do stuff, because every single person in our world and our society has had to adapt through this time period. So once again, I just can't overemphasize how this is your opportunity to be able to make this happen and make it a success. All right, let's move into start talking about the last couple of points now, which I see is once again incredibly paramount, and it's all about attracting, more quality, higher paying clients, and then from there you've got options of what you might do with it. So first of all, let's talk about attracting more quality and more higher paying clients. So the idea here is basically it enables you to position yourself as an expert. Okay, so when you specialize in a niche, when you identify a niche, what it enables you to do is to be able to put yourself at the forefront and show people your level of expertise. And it also enables you to move away from price, okay, because you can start selling on value, and people will willingly and happily pay more for a specialist, someone that can make a big difference in their lives. And more importantly, the person who has the right messaging that can be able to satisfy exactly what that person needs. From there, you've got options, okay? Like I was indicating before, maybe you might like to expand beyond being a solo independent coach, a solo independent trainer. Well, what does that mean for you? And I reflect back to the power of having a team, and what did it mean for me? What did it supply me with? Well, number one, it really did enable me to fulfill my mission, and that was to be able to help more people. So quite simply, we were all about inspiring more people to have healthier lifestyles. And so I knew that when I was able to grow that team of 13 personal trainers, that it became more than just, I'm Brad, I'm the PT, and I turn up to the gym and I train people. What it meant for me was that now I've got a great team of people and we can service much more people. We can change more people's lives. So that was that part. What did it mean for me on a business or a personal level? Well, it meant that our business revenue grew massively. It meant that our profitability grew massively as well. And so what did that enable me to do? Well, it enabled me to satisfy and do the stuff in my life and in my lifestyle that I really love doing. And that was, you know, I decided early on in my life, I turned 46 in a few weeks' time. I decided many years ago when I started growing this business that, hey, I don't want to be at the mercy of things that are around me. I want to be in control of this. I want to decide the type of lifestyle, the type of house I want to live in, the type of things that I want to do. And so that was one of the driving forces as well. So once again, this comes back to you, for you to decide exactly what it is that you want. Maybe the question to ask yourself is exactly that. What do I want? What do I want this thing to look like into the future? So many opportunities there, but please let me tell you that we do have, you know, on the Trainer HQ program, people who are on our Business Accelerator coaching programs and so forth, who are growing teams in an online format, you know. So this is the beauty of this. We're not limited to doing it in a gym. Do we encourage people to do it in the gym still? Absolutely. I'm a fan of it. I love gyms. But I also can tell you firsthand that you are, you know, you're in a very special time when, you know, growing an online PT model, an online training model is definitely a great time. And, you know, it's the chance for you to do it. So if you also want to build that thriving online business, if you're that person, you go, yep, this is for me. I know I can take this step and I know I can make a huge difference in people's lives. Well, you want to do it because you've got the desire to do it, okay? You want to do it because of the love affair. You want to make sure that you're doing it for all the right reasons, not doing it because you have to, okay? And so what I mean by have to is not feel like I need to, because that's kind of what people are doing, you know? So now I've got to do this new thing. No, you don't have to do it. Nobody's forcing you to do it, but right now there's an opportunity for those of you who want to grow a physical business. There's opportunity for those of you who want to grow an online offering, and there's opportunities for those of you who want to grow a blended version of both of those. And the opportunity is right now. I can guarantee that for you. So much great is going to come out of this. And the next part is that the online PT model. I got to overemphasize this part because once again, I see it. I scroll Facebook, as you probably do, and I see a lot of promises. I see a lot of people that haven't been there and haven't done it. And, you know, the lure, the mystique of going, hey, build this online business and open up your laptop and sit on the beach in Bali all day, whenever the country's open again, and you'll never have to work another day in your life. Well, I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen wealth without work. Okay, show me the place where that's happening, and I'll say that's great, that's impressive. But it's not a set and forget. I'm going to guarantee to you, to each and every one of you, that for you to grow and for you to develop this business, it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take energy. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So don't get caught up in any fallacy or a false promise that would indicate that, hey, all I do is I punch out a few of these programs. People will pay me for them forever and a day. Happy days. Thank you very much. So please don't think I'm, suggesting you can't do it and you can't make this a success, because I know that with the right strategy, I get to see it for the last 12 years. We have 150 plus people come through our business coaching programs who make their business a success and who are able to, enjoy the fruits of this hard work and so forth. But really, there's opportunity there, and trust me, there are hundreds, thousands, millions of potential clients out there. And when I say to you, I've heard people say in recent times, oh, there's so many online PTs out there, the market's flooded. And people were saying the same thing about personal training 10, 15 years ago when we were running 250 plus sessions per week. And then I was watching other trainers create successful businesses just down the road from me. So the fact of the matter is that there are so many people out there that are in your target market who need your help, and it's your opportunity to piece this stuff together. So really now is the right time for you to explore the best model or the blend that suits your current structure and your future goals. And the short story is that you can have it all. And sometimes you might hear that saying where people say, look, mate, you can't have it all, okay? Get the gym thing sorted, but you can have it all. There's a chance for you to do that. And the beauty of it is that when you learn the right methodology, it's going to work beautifully for you. And we say it to our clients when I speak to them about running a successful online business. I say, look no further than Trainer HQ, your coaches, the people who are guiding you through this, because we run effectively an online business. Okay, we've got an office, yeah, we've got a headquarters, but we don't have all our clients turn up to our headquarters. No, our coaching, it's done over Zoom calls, it's done over phone. We have a digital online platform. We have resources and templates. We run webinars. So we run an online business. And so what I'm here to show you, and I'm here to show the clients of ours who are interested in this, is that you model on what we do. You follow the footsteps of the people that have paved the way for you. Speaking of which, I've got a story for you. This one's, it makes me think about the power of being able to implement and being able to take on some strategic advice. So when I first kicked off 25 odd years ago as a personal trainer, now before I get to it, this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, in the chat box, let me know with a yes or a no, who has read it? Okay, so just let me know with a yes or a no, who's read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's definitely one of my recommended resources, and my eyes are just dancing around a little bit because I'm running a couple of screens here. I see a few yeses, which is excellent. I see a not yet in there. Good. So if you haven't read it, look, my recommendation, it's a great book. It's a classic actually, and it's something I'd highly recommend. Anyway, when I first kicked off as a PT, somebody gave me this book, right? And they said to me, and look, Brad, you look like a pretty motivated, energetic young fella. You got this PT thing that you're kicking off. Wish you all the best. Here's a good book I think you should read. Interesting, cool. They gave me the book. I said, thanks very much. I was thankful for that. Now, I had the best intentions of reading the book. However, question is how much did I pay for the book? Now, if I was to go to the bookstore and buy this book, it might cost me 25 or 30 bucks or something. But I didn't buy it. I didn't invest in it. I didn't take that first step. It was given to me. And so consequently, sometimes when you get something for free, there is a chance that you might not value that thing the same way you may value it if you'd had to pay for it. Would that be a fair question? And if the answer to that's yes, please work with me here in the chat box. Give me a yes. So I had the best intentions of reading that book, but what do you think I did with that book? In the chat box, please. What do you think I did with that book? First person to get it. I got the book, and what did I do with it? I left it on the bookshelf. Boom, that's exactly what I did. Put it on the bookshelf, and what did I say to myself? I said, and I've just lost my mouse, there it is. I said to myself, I'm going to read that book one day, and I had all the best intentions of getting to it and reading it, but for whatever reason, that didn't happen. Now, interestingly enough, that book sat there on that bookshelf for 5 years. for 5 years until I met my first business coach and met my first mentor. Now, let me tell you about the first 5 years of my experience in the fitness industry. So when I kicked off, I really had no idea about business. I didn't know how to get clients. I didn't know the strategy on how to market myself. I was constantly always discounting, and I would discount before people even asked for a discount. I became that personal trainer that I'd refer to as I'd pretty much train anyone, anywhere, anytime. You know, you name it, early mornings, middle of the day, late nights. And consequently, I also became a bit of a slave to the business. I was too afraid to do stuff like enforce cancellation policies. And the reason why I was too afraid to do that, although I sort of had a cancellation policy, I was too afraid to enforce it in fear that I might upset people, or they might take it the wrong way, or they might stop training or do less sessions or any of the above. So consequently, what I did was I avoided it and I didn't bring it up at all. And so you've ever had that experience when someone cancels on you and you're at the gym, let's say, when gyms were open back in the day, and at 7 a.m., you know, your client, you'd be sort of waiting there for the client, you get the SMS and they're cancelled, and, you know, inside you'd be spewing, there's a loss of money there. Got the cancellation policy, too afraid to enforce it. Send back a nice message. Okay, Johnny, all good, mate. You know, rest up. Hope you feel better, and let's see if we can get you in another day this week. You know, boom, hit the send button. You're sending that message, but really that's not the conversation that's going inside your head. So that's a bit of an insight as to this time. And you know, back then I was too afraid to increase my rates. You know, so consequently, all that stuff didn't happen. And so that first 5 years for me was very much a roller coaster journey. And there was times on that timeline where I was, you know, things were moving in the right direction for me and I had clients in and so forth. But then there was also times in that journey where suddenly, for no apparent reason, I'd get a loss of, you know, 1, 2, 3 clients. And that presented for me quite a stressful situation, because suddenly now I had a massive loss of income. And so when I met my first business coach and my first mentor, this was the person who pretty much paved the way for me to see that there is a different way to do this. You're not just Brad, the PT who turns up and trains people, you are Brad, the business owner. You need to start thinking about yourself as a business owner. Now, I'm sitting down with this first coach of mine, and I'm explaining some of my frustrations and concerns and so forth. And fascinatingly enough, this coach said to me, based on some of the things I was saying, he said, "Hey, I know a great book you should read." And you'll never guess what book it is. And you know what I said? I said, "I've got that book." He goes, "Have you read it?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And so consequently, that was my homework task, to go away that weekend and read that book. And I knocked it over in the weekend. And consequently, I look back at that time and that book and that bit of free information that somebody gave me. I look back at it as a metaphor to all the things I just didn't know, all the things I didn't do, all the things that weren't apparent for me in my life at that time, and especially in running a fitness business. Now, the end result of that meant that I went on to really engineer and create a successful business. And so when I look back at that book, I've still got the very book here at my home. It's got dog ears and highlighter and all sorts of stuff through it. But I look back at that book, which has been written in 1989. So what are we talking, 30 plus years ago now, as a powerful part of it. So really, it's over to you, because this is what other successful PTs and successful coaches are doing. And what we want to do is we want to be able to share some of our wisdom and some of our knowledge with you, because at Trainer HQ, we know exactly what good looks like, because we've been there and we've done it. And for the last 12 years, like I said, 150 plus clients who come through our higher level business coaching and mentoring programs, personal trainers in commercial gyms, people that own their own facility, outdoor, mobile, group gyms, facilities, MMA, F45s, CrossFit boxes, functional fitness boxes, and most importantly, online coaches, those of you who are venturing down this path to create a successful online model, and those of others who are in the allied health space, physios, chiros, osteos, you name it, we've been able to work with these types of businesses, and it's our speciality. That's what we specialize in, and that's what we'd like to help you with. So we'd love to share our knowledge. We'd love to share some of our wisdom with you. And so what does that mean for you? What might that look like? We're inviting you to allow us to help you, to give you some help, because we want to show you there is a way to build a successful online business and how to be able to do it. And you can start your success journey immediately. All you need to do right now is to take the first step. And what does that mean for you? Well, there's an opportunity for each and every one of you, because you've joined us live tonight, and the opportunity is for you to be able to, we want to invite you to have a brief chat with our head of business growth, Mr. Paul Condren, who's joined us live tonight. And Paul has a wealth of business knowledge and business experience himself, and he absolutely loves and absolutely thrives on being able to speak to other like-minded business owners and be able to guide you in the right direction. Now, from there, it's enabling us to guide you, enabling us to coach you and to suggest what might be a plan of attack, what might be a strategy on how you might be able to start to build what it is that you want. Now, before we go any further, I need to tell you that this is not for everybody. Okay, if this is a hobby for you, if you're not that serious about doing it, if you think that you're doomed and I've got no chance to to rekindle this fitness business, then we're probably not the right fit for each other. Who we want to speak to is we want to speak to people who are ready, who are motivated, and who are looking for a bit of guidance, a bit of someone who can guide them to success. And when I think back to that book that somebody gave me that book for free. It sat on the bookshelf. Please don't let this session, don't let this presentation that we've done tonight become that book for you. This is your chance. So all you need to do, and this is super simple, it does not cost you a cent. All you need to do is put in the chat box the word yes. And when you put in the word yes into the chat box, you tell us, you indicate to us that you are somebody who is keen, someone who is interested in at least having a brief chat and finding out what are some ways that I might be able to get some help. And I'll tell you straight up that we've got so many different levels and so many different ways that we can assist and that we can help people. So that's all you need to do, is you need to type yes into that chat box. Now, we have the ability, and Paul has the ability to chat to some of you tonight. So I'm even going to invite those of you who are super keen, put in a time. If you want to speak tonight, say yes, call me tonight. I'm up for it. I'm pumped, because we'll make that happen for you, okay? And or if you go, look, can't be tonight, please tomorrow, nominate a time, just put a time in there. We'll make it happen for you, and that's our opportunity. That's the invitation that we've got for you, and so we'd love to have that chat with you. I see lots of yeses coming in, which is excellent. So thank you very much to these people. I see Jack's put in a time there, excellent, between 11 and 2. Lyndall said yes, that's wonderful. Kimia said yes. Josie, yes. And Josie, we're on tomorrow as well, I do note, which is excellent. So I'll champion that call, that's for sure. And what I'll also do is I want to open it up whilst this is all happening at the same time, open that up to any questions that you may have. So those of you that have joined us live, that would be excellent. So I'll just pull my chat box around so I can see that right in front of me. All right, I'm seeing more come in. There's Alec, Matteo, Elliot, wonderful. Thanks very much for responding. See Michael. Surely, give me a tonight. Who's on for tonight? There's got to be someone who's up for the chat tonight. Let us know. Now, just as I said, just changing topics there. If there is anything in particular that why you've got me here and why there's that opportunity, please sing out, ask a question. There's no question that we won't do our very best to try and answer for you or to give you some guidance. With that, Matty, I just saw your private question come in, and I'll get back to you personally on that. Good. Someone else is moving into a webinar. Love it. More learning happening, which is excellent. Good. All right. Well, I'm taking the lack of specific questions what we've spoken about tonight as I guess an indication that I've been able to deliver the information you needed. and hopefully it's been of good value to you. A couple of things, just from my perspective. First of all, I do realise that we've promised the template. I want to get through to you, the ideal client template. So I'll make sure that Lynn does that. Now, that won't happen until tomorrow. So I'll make sure that I get them on top of that. Paul Condren, he will be reaching out to those of you, and thanks very much for putting in the times and so forth. And please, 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 please sing out to us. Stay in communication with us. We, on our Facebook and Insta page, we've been doing our very best to deliver the content, the information that you need. Our podcasts are free as well, so we just want to make sure that we keep delivering a wealth of information to you. All right, I love the question come through. Quick question: do you recommend charging for a consultation, assuming the intro call is free? Really good question, actually, that one. So when I've had a look at methods where people are doing both, and I like the method where someone would actually pay a fee, assuming that in that initial consultation, it is treated very much like a consultation where there could be some value derived for that particular person. So if you know for a fact, I get into these consultations and I can easily spend an hour with somebody, and I'm talking about training methodology, and I'm talking about nutrition stuff, and if that person actually physically didn't sign up and walked away, they would have an amazing experience. I have absolutely no dramas with you being charging for that. And the beauty of it is especially when we start to generate more leads and have more people come through, the beauty of that, you get to see who is a highly qualified buyer. So the short story is, if that's the case, yes. On the flip side, if you feel like, well, during that consult, in many ways, I would probably say that I'm not doing much in the way of offering advice or value or service. Instead, it's more about going through the protocol on how somebody might sign up. Then I'd probably recommend that it would make sense that somebody wouldn't pay for that consult. Next question just come through from Alan that says, have you had much experience with mobile fitness providers? The short story is, yeah, absolutely. And so we've had quite a number of those who have been on our program. And one that springs to mind who's been killing it through this time is Mr. Tim Morgan, Full You Body Fitness down in Cranbourne in Melbourne. So the short story is it's definitely one of our areas of speciality. And also we're an emerging style of training right now for many people who have been displaced from their gyms. All right, gang, once again, thank you very much. Okay, so Kathy's just asked, what about pricing models for online training? Is there a recommendation for that? Short story is, right now, from our perspective, we don't say we believe you should charge this for this, you should charge this for this, and this for this. Instead, what we do is we recommend that you should have some type of value ladder of some description, i.e. there could be some lower entry cost version, there could be some mid-tier version, and there could be some higher ticket version. And once again, based on the nature of your business and the service offering and the nature of the clientele and so forth, that will determine how we figure out the pricing around that. And once again, it's got to all come back to what do you think that this is valued at? What do you think is fair and reasonable for the amount of effort, time that you've put into it? If someone was to say to me, when I was charging $400 for a personal training session, nobody ever gave me that advice and said, hey, this is a pricing model you should go with. You should try and make $400 a session. It came about from years of trial and error and experience. So once again, allow us to be able to guide you through this and be your coach to be able to set this up correctly. All right, gang, once again, thank you. I will be signing off, and